Thank you, Pamir. What a fantastic thing. As he said, I've had a bit of a busy travel schedule over the last year and a half or so, and it's basically been from one Bitcoin conference to another Bitcoin conference around the world. Most recently, I believe I was in Hong Kong, and before that, Beijing, and just all over the world. And it's amazing. Everywhere I go, I see so many really smart people that are really excited about Bitcoin. But before I go into too much detail, can I see a real quick show of hands? Who here is here just to investigate and learn more about Bitcoin and kind of, I guess, bit curious, so to speak? Can I see a couple of hands? Okay, that's quite a bit of the audience here. So I have my job cut out for me here. The reason all these people are so excited about Bitcoin is because it truly is one of the most important inventions in the entire history of humankind. Bitcoin is, for the first time, it will allow any human being anywhere on the planet be able to send and receive any amount of money with anyone else anywhere on the planet without having to ask for permission from any bank, corporation, or government. And nothing like that has ever existed ever before. And it's going to change the way human beings on the entire planet are able to interact with each other. Nothing like this has existed. And the really exciting part about it is that maybe those people that aren't so excited about individuals being able to freely transact with anybody else, the only way to stop Bitcoin would be to shut down the entire internet in the entire world and keep it turned off. And the instant the internet gets turned back on again, Bitcoin starts right back up where it left off. And that's really, really, really powerful. So think about that. Anybody, regardless of where they happen to have been born, or where they happen to be living, or regardless of what sort of bank account access they happen to have access to, can now send and receive money with anyone else without having to ask for permission. And that's really, really exciting and fundamentally world-changing for all of us. And it's just been amazing in the 3.5 years that I've been involved in Bitcoin to see the amount of progress that's been made. Bitcoin was less than $1 when I first got involved with it. And the market cap was, well under 100 million US dollars. I remember living in Tokyo. I could look out the window and see other buildings in Tokyo and realize that building across the street is worth more than all of the Bitcoins in the entire existence of the world. And I would think to myself, how can a technology as fundamentally world-changing as Bitcoin be worth less than that building across the street? And today that's no longer the case. The total market cap of Bitcoin is around 8 billion US dollars. But it's still just getting started. In Tokyo, the Tokyo metropolitan area has around 35 million people living there. Today, there's only 13 million Bitcoins. That means everybody in the city that I live in, there's not even enough for each of them to have half a Bitcoin. So I hear a lot of people, I think they're a little bit confused. They say Bitcoin's in a bubble, Bitcoin's $600 and something, this can't last, it's gonna go down. No, think about that, right? There's only 13 million currently for everybody on the entire planet to use. So Bitcoin's not a bubble, Bitcoin's not a Ponzi scheme. I've been around long enough where I remember on the Bitcoin forums when Bitcoin hit $1 for the first time. And people were saying, oh, Bitcoin's a bubble, it's a Ponzi scheme, $1 is not sustainable, it's gonna crash back down to 10 cents. And here we are at $600 and something. And a lot of people still say the same thing, but that's because they don't fully understand what Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin allows, and just how much more convenient it is to use Bitcoin in people's everyday lives. I flew in from Korea to London 2 days ago. On the train ride from London up to York, where I spent the other night with some of the blockchain info guys, I was pretty darn tired from the trip. I had my laptop open. I went over to Expedia.com, found a hotel in York, and paid for it in Bitcoin. And I realized that not only is Bitcoin a fair money system, but when you're incredibly jet lagged after traveling for 20 hours, it's a heck of a lot easier to pull out your smartphone and scan a QR code and hit send on a shaky train than it is to hold a credit card and try and type in all those numbers. And that's just one other benefit that I just learned about Bitcoin yesterday. It's actually easier to pay for things online than with credit cards at this point. But the main thing to think about is that in history, we've had groups of people controlling who's allowed to send and receive money with other people. But Bitcoin, it puts every human being on the entire planet on the same playing field, on level ground, in which anybody can now send and receive money with anybody else. And think about what that allows. That's so incredibly exciting for everybody, everywhere on the planet. And then all these other technologies that are going to be built on top of that. This is literally going to change the life of everybody on the entire planet. The Bitcoin has transformed the world. I'm sorry, the internet has transformed the world. The Bitcoin is going to do that too. And all these people here are so excited about it because they realize that this is going to happen. And not only is it going to happen, it's happening right now. There's all these entrepreneurs all over the world that are hard at work making this happen. Venture capital is just pouring into Bitcoin. But the part that's so exciting about it still too is that the vast majority of the world, maybe they've heard the word Bitcoin yet, but they don't realize that Bitcoin's not just some new online payment something or other. It's actually a new type of money that's never existed before. In history, we had commodity-based money, and we had fiat-based money, pieces of paper, and now we have math-based money in the form of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and nothing like that's ever existed before. And this is right on the verge of changing the life of everybody everywhere on the planet. At the Hong Kong Bitcoin conference the other week, it was amazing to see all the entrepreneurs out of China that are doing amazing things with Bitcoin. There are now a number of Bitcoin ATM machines in Macau, in Las Vegas, in London, all over the world. It's just spreading like wildfire. And businesses are coming on board and realizing it. And just recently, Expedia.com, that's the largest travel website in the entire world, now accepts Bitcoin. And when the largest website's doing it, all their competitors are going to realize, oh, we can't be left out of this. We're going to have to accept it too. And we're seeing that with online shopping now. In the US, TigerDirect.com, Newegg.com, Overstock.com. Those are probably the second through the fourth largest online shopping websites, with Amazon being the biggest. So if Amazon's top 3 competitors are accepting Bitcoin, guess what Amazon's going to have to do pretty darn soon. And I think we're going to see that happening soon because the people at Amazon aren't dumb. They're not going to miss this boat. And it's the same with all these other businesses. The whole world is realizing just how much Bitcoin is going to improve the life of everybody on the planet. And they don't want to be left out. They want to jump in and get involved in it. And I'm sure there's lots and lots of entrepreneurs here that see that as well. And this is going to happen. This is fundamentally going to change the way every human being on the planet is able to interact with every other human being on the planet. And this is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Think about that. You can now send 1 penny or $1 million to or from anyone, anywhere in the world without having to ask permission, and there's nothing that anybody can do to stop that. Think about how much additional economic growth and new businesses that this is going to stimulate. And this is going to, especially in countries with a lot of economic oppression, Bitcoin gives everybody there a tool to be able to transact freely with other people without having to ask for permission. And for me, that's just so incredibly exciting. I can't think of something that's more exciting to be involved in. And it's just so encouraging to see how many smart entrepreneurs are jumping with both feet to make this happen. And I hope that you guys can feel my passion and see that it's genuine, because this is really happening. In the 3.5 years of Bitcoin, that I've been involved in Bitcoin, when I got started, there were no iPhone wallets. There were no Android wallets. There were almost no shopping websites that accepted Bitcoin. There was almost nothing at all other than just a white paper that explained this concept. But people realized that, and I'm not aware of any other industry in my lifetime or in any lifetime that's advanced as quickly as Bitcoin has around the world. To think that we went from pretty much nothing 3.5 years ago and a Bitcoin price of well under $1 to $600 and something a Bitcoin, and some of the largest businesses on the world are starting to accept Bitcoin in the course of just 3.5 years. That's absolutely incredible. And it's going to be even more exciting to see what happens in the next 3.5 years, because I think the pace is going to only increase. So thank you guys all for coming there's people from all over the world that are here. Bitcoin truly is one of the most important inventions ever. And all of you are right here at the very front line, cutting edge of that, making this happen. So thank all of you guys for making this happen. And if you're not doing it already, be sure to go out there. When you leave the conference after tomorrow, go home and tell your friends about Bitcoin, tell your family about Bitcoin, post on it, about it on Facebook and Twitter, and tell everybody Bitcoin is worth your time paying attention to. Get involved, help them set up Bitcoin wallets. If you have friends who own businesses, help them get set up to accept Bitcoin. And this is fundamentally going to improve the life of every single human being on the planet. And if we all work together, we can bring those improvements sooner rather than later. So I would implore you to go out there and tell everybody about Bitcoin, how exciting and how wonderful this is, and get everybody involved. And let's all work together to make the world a better place. So thank you guys all for coming.